As the wife of a recently retired CPD officer, I think it was disgusting to see the police department, Chicago PD, get orders to stand down while domestic terrorists, let's call it what it is, were allowed to attack federal officers and stop them from doing their job. And to see Brandon Johnson and J.D. Pritzker go on TV and to try to justify this behavior, I believe, and I'm calling for the arrest and prosecution to the fullest extent of the law of Brandon Johnson, Governor Pritzker, Kwame Raoul, all of these elected officials who are allowing these terrorists, illegal aliens, ANTIFA, these domestic terrorists to wreak havoc in our communities. Because if it was the regular citizens, if it was American citizens, and we were attacking officers, we would be in jail and the book would be thrown at us. So this is not about democracy. This is not about freedom of speech. This is none of that. This is what the Democrat Party always wanted. They thrive off chaos, destruction. This is what they do. Look at all the times that the riots happened. It was all up under their party. When our neighborhoods were burnt down, when our stores were burnt down. Look at our neighborhoods now. They still haven't recovered. We're asking and we've been demanding for President Trump to send the FBI and the DOJ, IRS, Criminal Division, UFO, anybody, UFO aliens, whatever you need to do, we're asking you to lock these criminals up, investigate, and lock these criminals up for aiding and abetting illegal aid. That you investigate these unconstitutional criminal sanctuary city policies, that you investigate all the money that they stole and spent with this illegal alien scam. Because if that was my husband and he needed help and something happened to him and I found out that orders were given for officers to stand down, I would not rest until justice was served.
Donald J. Trump is now President of the United States. President Obama is the ex-president. And Mr. Trump, for the moment, steps away for the inaugural address.
What a great honor to be able to introduce for the first time ever anywhere the 45th President of the United States of America, Donald.
Pump on the shoulder. You adjust the microphone as you told, man.
For their gracious aid.
I am so sorry to my world. I am so sorry to my world. This is not what we want.
We will face challenges.
There's so much potential
but we will get the job done.
For beauty and for devastation.
We gather
in this one moment, it's almost incomprehensible that they can exist right now. So,
and we are grateful
so
to
close.
President Obama.
What do you say to the 40% of California voters who you'll need in order to win, who voted for Trump?
How would I need them in order to win, man?
What? You don't care, you don't think that you have any X.com or you have any responsibility to the truth or moderating? Do you believe that X and you have some responsibility to moderate hate speech on the platform? These posts should have been deleted, so why haven't they been deleted? Why are they still there?
We delete things if they are illegal.
But these have been up there for a while. Are they illegal? They're not illegal, but they're hateful and they can lead to violence. If you are doing something that promotes hate and violence and ultimately leads to killing, you don't feel you have any responsibility not to do that? You are a person of consequence to the world with what you do, that there is a certain responsibility that goes along with what you have on your platform and what you put out to the world. I think that there's right and wrong. the idea of what's bad and what's not, what is that? That's subjective. Who is to determine if a joke is funny or not because you don't like it? Comedians are artists. They're part of the people that we are supposed to protect, especially as it relates to freedom of speech. They give an idea about what's happening in the culture. They do it with humor, and oftentimes you learn things when they say the truth is often spoken in jest. People should be able to say whatever the hell that they want. If I'm watching something on television and there's a remote handy, if I happen to watch TV, linear TV, not so much anymore, but what do? I click it off. I turn it to something else. Perhaps people understand right now that we are dealing with cult-like behavior. Donald Trump fashions himself after being a dictator.
Would you allow these cities to ignore the federal law regarding the reporting of illegal immigrants and, in fact, provide sanctuary to these immigrants?
The reason the cities ignore the federal law is the fact that there is no funding at the federal level to provide for the kind of enforcement at the federal level you need. Pick up the New York Times today. There's a city not far across the river from my state that imposed the similar sanctions. And what they found out is, as a consequence of that, their city went in the dumps, in the dumpster. Stores started closing. Everything started to happen. And they changed the policy. Part of the problem is you have to have a federal government that can enforce laws. This administration has been fundamentally derelict in not funding any of the requirements that are needed even to enforce the existing law.
So, Senator Biden, yes or no, would you allow the cities to ignore the federal law?
No.
Okay.
There you see President Obama in Denver this week. White House even has a hashtag for these outings. They call it "The Bear is Loose." With the president taking some heat for shooting pool, but not going to the border to see that crisis firsthand.
We send children back to Mexico. We send children back all over the world.
But they're not in those situations.
Well, they are in those situations, and things in Central America have been tough for a long time. But the idea that you're going to let unaccompanied minors just come into the U.S. because of a loophole in the 2008 law that allows you to send the Mexican kid back and the Honduran kid gets to stay, and that's not sensible. And so that the Republicans are going to propose this week on the Hill amending the 2008 law to have even treatment for everyone. And the president does have to send a message: you can't come here. And why has this happened? David talks about this has been a problem for decades. Why are these kids suddenly flooding this place? Because the president amnestied all the kids who were already here in 2012, and people in Central America decided. So the Republicans. Can I just say one thing? He just finished sentence. He amnestied all the kids who were here, and every sensible person in Central America thought, hey, great, if I can get my kid into the U.S., there'll be an amnesty for them.
I think that's part of the problem for the president. If you go down to the border, part of his message has to be, you guys have got to go back home.
There is no such pot of gold at the end of the rainbow for these kids. So it is important for the president to clarify that the misrepresentation that's going on purpose by criminal forces in Central America is not so. That's why it would have been important for him to go to the border.
I am opposed to any policy that would deny in our country any human being from access to public safety, public education, or public health, period.
Universal health care for all, regardless of pre-existing condition, regardless of the ability to pay, and regardless of your immigration status.
It makes no sense, none whatsoever, for us to walk away and not provide for access, not provide for education, not provide for health care.
Just to be clear, that health insurance for undocumented immigrants is a deal breaker for you.
Excluding people from the ability to get in on health insurance, we're not just harming them, we're punishing ourselves.
Medicare for all, as I put this together, covers everyone, regardless of immigration status. And that's it.
Now we're having a hearing today about why we should push people who were brought here as children off of healthcare coverage. Denying health care to anyone, I believe, is morally repugnant.
A campaign on universal health care, we're delivering that. We are implementing our ideals. We are manifesting this principle, this fundamental notion that so many of us have been preaching for years and years and years. Universal health care for all, regardless of pre-existing condition, regardless of the ability to pay, and regardless of your immigration status. If you care, not just about values and principles of morality, but if your only values and principles are advanced through economics, then that alone should be an argument in favor of universal health care, a pathway and a framework for 1.1 million undocumented residents in the state of California to avail themselves to high quality, comprehensive medical care, long-term, short-term, preventative as well as in-home support service, care, and coverage.
Now, Newsom says California is facing a $12 billion deficit. Governor is proposing freezing enrollment in state-funded health care for undocumented immigrants.
You know, when the program started, it was supposed to cost about $3 billion a year, and that ballooned to $11 billion last year. So the governor is freezing new entries into it and making those, or asking those people who are already in it to pay. Take a look.
We are moving forward with making decisions that not only address the concerns this year related to the $11.9 billion, but mindful that we need to tighten things up. We believe that people should have some skin in the game as it relates to contributions. So we are looking to a monthly premium. We are asking for something we ask all taxpayers of California.
The undocumented are not allowed to receive benefits from this initiative. It was clear in the first bill. It's even clearer in the second bill. There's a cap on who can receive it, stronger language as to undocumented. No illegal aliens, to use your term, I prefer undocumented, are able to get benefits.
What really is happening, and correct me at any point if I'm wrong, the Democrats are demanding $1.5 trillion in new spending. Republicans are offering to a continuing resolution to keep spending at its current levels with no cuts at all whatsoever, while you can work out the details and keep the government open and make sure everyone gets a paycheck, et cetera. But what is the $1.5 trillion for? They've lied and said it's not about funding for health care that in part will go to illegal immigrants. That is a false statement on their part, is it not?
It absolutely is a false statement, and you don't have to take our word for it. Go to my website, speaker.gov. Right there on the homepage, you can see Chuck Schumer's own document. He filed a counter-proposal. It would spend $1.5 trillion of hardworking taxpayer funds, and a big chunk of that would go to give benefits again, health care and other benefits, to illegal aliens. It is in writing. He's the one that filed it. Look at page 57, section 2141 of Chuck Schumer's counter-proposal. It's right there for everybody to see. They can't hide it. They also want to give $500 million back to NPR and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting so they can prop up left-leaning biased organizations again. Oh, and by the way, they want to cut $50 billion from rural hospitals that President Trump and the Republican Party signed into law just on July 4th. It is a charade. They're looking for a political issue to show a fight against Trump because they have real derangement syndrome. And Chuck Schumer is afraid, Sean, it all comes down to this. He is afraid that he's going to get a challenge from the Marxist flank of his party in his next re-election bid to return to the Senate. He's been in the Senate for almost in Congress for almost 45 years. And there's a Marxist rise in New York. That's his state. He's worried about it, so he's got to show a fight right now. And he seems not to care at all about the real Americans who are being harmed because of these shenanigans.
You know what? I think that brings us to a Schumer, I don't know, a flashback, we'll call it. And because this is a guy whose entire career has said he will not shut down the government, how dangerous it is to shut down the government. And you hit on, you know, the main point. The only reason he is doing this is he fears the radicals that now run his party. He is the minority leader in name only, as reflected by him changing his position from what we just showed you to this. Take a look.
What if I persuaded my caucus to say I'm going to shut the government down, I'm going to not pay our bills unless I get my way? It's a politics of idiocy, of confrontation, of paralysis. It's sort of like this. Someone goes into your house, takes your wife and children hostage, and then says, let's negotiate over the price of your house. You know, we could do the same thing on immigration. We believe strongly in immigration reform. We could say we're shutting down the government. We're not going to raise the debt ceiling until you pass immigration reform. It would be governmental chaos. Speaker McCarthy needs to stop letting the MAGA radicals drive his decisions and do the obvious and sensible thing. Follow the Senate's lead and pass a bipartisan CR to prevent this reckless shutdown. We do not want to let a Trump temper tantrum govern our policies or cause the shutdown of a government which everyone on both sides of the aisles knows is the wrong idea.
Oh, looks to me like a Schumer temper tantrum. It looks like political idiocy and hostage taking, Mr. Speaker. What do you make of this? His entire career he's been against shutdowns. Now all of a sudden he fears he's losing whatever power he may have left, and I don't think he has any myself. Your thoughts?
Yeah, no power and no strength, no resolve, no strategy. Play his own words there. By his own admission, he is apparently a reckless idiot, because that's what he said in his own quotes there. It's stunning to me. For 4 decades, he has railed against closing down the government because he said it would be so dangerous and harmful to the people. He was right then. He's just changed his tune. He gave those speeches as recently as March of this year, Sean, when he voted for the exact same measure that we just put on the floor. You noted at the outset here, we did this in good faith. Republicans are trying to govern. We're trying to build back the muscle memory to appropriate the taxpayers' funds in a responsible manner. We just needed a little bit more time to finish that process. So Republicans and Democrats in the House got together and said, let's do a stopgap measure for just 7 weeks to allow the time. And Chuck Schumer has blown it up and turned it into this big nonsensical fight that is now doing real harm to real people. You know, troops are going to go without pay on October 15th. Border Patrol agents, TSA agents, air traffic controllers. You got nutrition supplement programs that are being stalled, veteran services, and FEMA services in the middle of a hurricane season. It's reckless and crazy. He was right in all those quotes. He is very wrong today, and I think the Democrats are going to pay a big price for this.
Did you get permission from your boss?
Why don't we sign on right now?
Did your boss, Donald Trump?
You can easily extend
the ACA
Did your boss,
Donald Trump,
He's
give
not
you
my
permission?
boss.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not. And by the way,
so let me ask you a
why
question.
did you vote to shut the government down? Why did you vote to shut it down?
Let me ask you a question.
For years, you always lectured about how we need to keep the government open.
You're making a show of this to make yourself relevant.
It's sad. You could easily sign on to this.
You're embarrassing yourself right now.
You could sign on to this. The only embarrassment here is you.
You're an embarrassment.
You could sign on to the bill.
Let me ask you a question.
You have 4 Democrats on here.
Let me ask you a question.
Why won't you sign on?
Let me ask you a question.
It's a clean extension for 1 year.
You voted for the one big ugly bill, correct?
I voted for a tax cut bill that gave the largest tax cut to Americans in history, including, by the way, the average New Yorker getting a $4,000 tax cut. Are you against that?
You're embarrassing yourself right now.
Do you want to cut the standard deduction in half?
The largest cut to Medicaid in American history. You voted for that.
Fraud and abuse, by the way.
You voted
Tom DiNapoli, the Democratic controller of New York,
let me ask you a question.
Pointed out that $1.2 billion were wasted.
Listen, you're not going to talk to me. You're not going to talk to me and talk over me because you don't want to hear what I have to say.
Oh, I'm listening.
So why don't you just keep your mouth shut?
Oh,
because you showed up.
Is that the way to talk?
You showed up.
Yeah.
And so you voted for this one big ugly bill.
I signed on for this. You can extend it right now.
A permanent extension of massive tax breaks for your billionaire donors.
So 90% of Americans...
So they can get a permanent extension.
90% of Americans take the standard deduction.
Is that right?
90% of Americans take the standard deduction.
Is that right?
If you had your way, the standard deduction would have been cut in half. That would have been a massive tax increase on Americans all across the country.
You're
you support
here,
that?
unfortunately,
you're against lifting the cap on salt?
Your billionaire donors.
The billionaire donors. Lifting the cap on salt, we put a income cap in place.
Why are you here right now?
An income cap. Didn't you want all Republicans to be here? I'm here.
Where are the rest of your Republican
You wanted Republicans to be here. I'm here.
Why are you
And
here?
by the way, you can pass an ACA extension right now. Sign on to this bill.
Did your boss
sign on to the bill?
Is your boss Donald Trump behind that?
HR 5145. Why don't you get on it?
Mike, is your boss Donald Trump behind that?
Why won't you get on it?
Because you don't work for the American people.
Oh, I do. I work for the people of New York. I work for the people of my district.
Is that why you?
I'm here.
You got 140.
And by the way, I voted for a clean CR to keep the government open and funded. You voted to shut it down.
You're embarrassing yourself right now.
Yeah, leader. With all due respect, you're the one.
Why are you playing yourself?
You're the one who actually voted to shut the government down.
Actually, you know that's not true.
It's sad. You voted to shut the government down.
Do Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the president?
Right, and you're smart enough to know that you need 60 votes in the Senate, right?
Is that right? No.
Do you need 60 votes in the Senate or no?
Were 60 votes needed to pass your one big ugly bill?
Reconciliation, which you did with the IRA, and boy, that really reduced inflation.
Are you
did a
trying to
great job
elevate
there.
yourself because you're afraid
I'm not trying to
about
elevate
lose
myself.
re-election?
No, I'm not going to lose re-election. You spent $42 million last cycle. You didn't do that great.
Why aren't you running for governor right now?
Because I actually enjoy this job, and I'm here to do it. And by the way, you could actually pass a subsidy right now to ensure that people don't have health care premiums going up. Why won't you support this one-year bill?
Let me ask you a question.
Tom Swazi's on it, Jared Golden,
Let me ask you a question.
Marie Blusenkamp-Perez. Are they wrong?
Your other boss,
Are they wrong?
Your other boss, Mike Johnson. I challenged him to a debate.
Yeah.
on the floor. Did he send you?
No, I'm here on my behalf of my constituents because you shut the government down. And my constituents are suffering as a result of your ridiculous ploy because you're so afraid of Zohran Mamdani. By the way, when are you endorsing him?
By the way,
do you endorse him for mayor?
First of all, are
you going to endorse him for mayor?
Listen, you're a complete and total embarrassment right now.
Oh, why is that? Because you don't want to answer the question?
Is this supposed to be a video for your failed re-election?
You don't want to answer the question? Do you support Zohran? By the way, did you see his statement yesterday?
Listen.
An embarrassment on October 7th blaming the Jews? You support that? Should he be the Democratic nominee for mayor?
First of all, I don't answer to you.
Should he be the Democratic mayor? Should he be the Democratic nominee for mayor?
I'll answer whatever questions I need to answer about the
so
mayor's
you think
race,
his statement yesterday was okay?
First of all,
that's sad.
First of all,
it's unfortunate.
Don't come with this phony.
These are bills. These are bills. They're not phony. They're real bills.
That Republicans are even.
Well, Brandon Johnson, since National Guards is in Illinois and come on their way to Chicago, what is the executive order that you will be signing tomorrow? What press conference will you be holding tomorrow?
I thought we were a welcoming city. I thought we welcomed everyone. I thought everyone was welcome. So you mean to tell me everyone but the National Guards? Okay. Okay, we just wondering what he's going to do with those executive orders, huh? So he just going to have those little zones to say, hey, don't come right here?
Yeah, like, are you having a National Guard?
President Trump this morning called for you, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, to be jailed for, quote, failing to protect ICE officers. What is your response?
Well, first of all, this president is unstable, unhinged, a double-minded individual that, quite frankly, is a threat to our democracy. And it's certainly not the first time that Donald Trump has called for the arresting of a black man.
These black folk are not happy in Chicago with Mayor Brandon Johnson. They are not happy with him. They're going off on him, right? Because he's a horrible mayor with a 5% approval rating. He destroyed Chicago. They're in a deficit. They losing teachers, and illegal immigrants run Chicago, and crime is out of control.
What happened to you? You got Kash Patel and Pam Bundy that you're going to have to deal with sooner than later. Then it's going to be an audit. Next, it's going to be an investigation. Then it's going to be an indictment. Conviction. That's what's going to happen to you.
Mr. Brandon Johnson, I'm up here. I am speaking right now, so I would love your undivided attention, please. I'll wait. So this just proves to you the lack of leadership that you show in this city. You can't even give me straight eye contact. Now, I'm gonna let you know now, the people of Chicago, we're done with you. It is insane how we have been voting Democrat for over 60 plus years, and we've never seen a change from people like you, Lori Lightfoot, Rob Emanuel. It is insane. Chicago was 37% red. In 2020, it was only 15%. So we're waking up. So you can pretend that this isn't happening, but I know for a fact that you will not have that seat the next election.
You so strong about protecting those aliens, but you won't do nothing for the U.S. citizens.
I got a great way how we can what we can do with this budget. First, let's start with cutting off illegals, getting free everything. Free housing, free schooling, free food. Yeah, let's start with that. That'll save us a lot of money. What, $600 million? Let's start there. Then let's start with your salary. You are going down in history as the worst mayor in America. Let's start with cutting yours. You making too much money. Let's start there. You Democrats, and you remember you told us to defund the police? Remember, you ran on that. Remember, you was the defund the police? Let's start with that. Let's defund the police detail that you have. And let's put the police back in our neighborhood, because we're not for defunding the police. Won't you just practice what you preach? Remove all the details. We saw you coming in today. You had all the police presence.
This was
also there's so many black women in Chicago that support Donald Trump.
The
issue is the retaliation in this city. This city is very, very, very retaliatory. So they will do whatever. So people cannot come out. They cannot afford to lose their jobs. They cannot afford to lose their homes. They cannot afford to lose their child care. They can't afford to lose their kids getting kicked out all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is just what this city does, because this is a city that is a dictatorship. Everything that they say Donald Trump is, that's exactly what this democratic machine is.
Are you prepared to defend this land that was built by slaves, a land that was built by indigenous people, a land that is built by workers? Are you prepared to defend this land? This president decides to continue to break this constitution.
That's Brandon Johnson, mayor of Chicago, playing the race card. After Trump called Brandon incompetent and announced plans to send the National Guard to Chicago, Johnson claimed the president has always been intimidated by the intellectual prowess of black men. Well, we can't read minds, but we can read data. So while Johnson talks about Trump's supposed mental state, let's talk about Chicago's actual state. 65% of Chicago residents are concerned about public safety where they live. Over Labor Day weekend alone, 50 people were shot and 8 died. Now, some point out that crime dropped in early 2025. Johnson's calling it historic lows and levels not seen in a decade. That's the same line that DC politicians used when Trump deployed forces there. And they're right. And here's the problem. Just because something improves doesn't mean it's acceptable. Chicago's murder rate has been nearly triple the national average for over a decade. In 2024, it was 3 times higher than Los Angeles and nearly 5 times higher than New York City per capita. Parts of the South Side have murder rates higher than Honduras, one of the most dangerous countries in the world. There's a reason why people call it Chirac. So, to make the problem clear, imagine someone who's 100 pounds overweight for 20 years loses 25 pounds. That's progress, but they're still far from healthy. That's Chicago right now. Ignoring these numbers is base rate fallacy in action. The tendency to focus on narrow slices of data while ignoring the underlying statistical context. Politicians love this because it makes bad situations sound good with technically true statistics. And what's more, despite the statistics, many residents don't feel that life is improving.
Our children can't walk around the community without fear of being hurt or kidnapped or having a drive-by. So it's what these numbers that they're expressing, we don't feel it in our quality of life.
And many of them blame Johnson. At best, he has an approval rating of 26%, and at worst, 6%. Even among black voters, more disapprove than approve. So while Johnson redirects focus to Trump's supposed racism, who's suffering in Chicago? Everyone, but especially black people. When results can't speak for themselves, leaders like this speak about race. They want you focused on the race card, not the other cards in the deck. Chicago's violence isn't because of racism or fascism, it's because of incompetence. So rather than deflecting to race when you can't defend results, get better results, because that's what effective leaders do, rather than making everything about black and white. Numbers don't lie, but people lie with numbers. That's why base rate fallacy is one of the logical fallacies I cover in Clear Thinker. If you want to learn how to spot media manipulation like this, check out the free preview at clearthinkeracademy.com.
Yeah, and to be clear, he's also calling for the governor, J.B. Pritzker, to be jailed as well.
You know as well as I do, the President of the United States in the last 24 hours called for you to be imprisoned. I want to give you an opportunity. We've seen your reaction on social media, but I want to hear what you have to say back to the President of the United States.
Well, let's start with the idea that this is a convicted felon. I mean, think about that, who is threatening to jail me. I got to say, this guy's unhinged. He's insecure. He's a wannabe dictator. And there's one thing I really want to say to Donald Trump. If you come for my people, you come through me. So come and get me.
What does that mean exactly, Governor? Do you believe that he would follow through or that he'll chicken out? He basically said the same thing to Governor Gavin Newsom when I was with him at the height of the raids in the Los Angeles area. Governor Gavin Newsom is walking free on the streets of California. You think that he'll chicken out, or would he ever arrest you?
Well, you know the expression, Trump always chickens out taco. And I got to say, he can't arrest. We've done nothing wrong here. And very importantly, it's Donald Trump that is breaching the Constitution, breaking the law. We're taking him to court, and I believe we're going to win.
ICE zone free, like what? What's next? Like what is your, like what I just want to know, like at this point, you're predictable. You know what I'm saying? But I just want to know, like, what's next? Because President Donald Trump is the commander-in-chief. He's the president of the United States. Shout out that you did bring us up today.
After we do this, we'll go to another location and we'll make it safe also. We're going to make our country very safe. We're going to make our cities very, very safe. Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent. And we'll straighten that one out probably next. That'll be our next one after this. And it won't even be tough. And the people in Chicago, Mr. Vice President, are screaming for us to come. They're wearing red hats, just like this one. But they're wearing red hats. African-American ladies, beautiful ladies, are saying, please, President Trump, come to Chicago. Please. I did great with the black vote, as you know, and they want something to happen. So I think Chicago will be our next.
I look forward to seeing what's next.
Yeah, it's thousands upon thousands here. Yeah. So you'll see at election time. So you
saw at this election time. You did. Like y'all can sit here and act like we turned to a swing state.
We sure did. Yeah. They didn't tell you. I'm telling you, they didn't tell you all that. The real numbers are out there. So he can play that game if he wants to. Listen, he know what time it is.
Pritzker does too.
Pritzker know what time.
Tony Dwayne Preckwinkle does too. Yes. Kwame Raoul does too. You know, so this is a distraction. A distraction to what is really about to go down. Because President Trump, y'all not going to keep calling this man a racist, a fascist, a dictator, a Nazi, all these things.
Is Trump a racist?
I don't think so. I've talked to a number of black entrepreneurs who back in the late 80s and 90s, early 90s, were trying to get financing. They couldn't. Somebody told them to go check with Donald Trump. So they come back and tell me they got a loan from Donald Trump. He gave them a term loan. Show up with the interest and the principal, one check. But they had to go see him personally. They independently relate this tale that when they saw him, he said, "This what you supposed to pay me? This our agreement?" I said, "Yeah." And then tore the check up, shook their hands, and congratulations. Now run your business.
And this was when?
This was back in the 90s. See, most people don't even know this. He had a sister. Every time you saw him back in the 90s, fine paper bag, brown, beautiful black model. He likes fine women. He didn't have any problem with dating a black woman, walking her down red carpets. So, I mean, she says he's not a racist. He just doesn't like many people, black or white. And he appreciates people who do stuff within their lane. Well, not stay in their lane, but where they choose to be. If they do it well, he admires them. Black, white, brown, red, yellow. Most people don't know this. He was the finance man behind Jesse Jackson's 2 runs for president.
Wow.
It's like, well, I keep trying to tell you this, and it's gonna happen. Danielle keeps trying to tell you. It's about to be Operation Grey Lord 2.0. It's going in Operation Grey Lord 2.0 in 2025 terms, because that happened in Operation Grey Lord happened in 1984. It's about to be called It's Rico time. Okay, It's Rico time. These Democratic politicians, they friends, they homies, they families, they workers, the administration, all these people about to get locked up.
And when you all see how much money they stole, then I want to hear what you all have to say then. When you all want to see all the money, I want to see you all cry, because when we come for those seats and get these people out of office, I want to see what he said, Brandon Johnson, talking about all the black women that were fired.
I don't want Donald Trump to come in there with the National Guard, because if they clean up the crime, Chicago will lose $800 million in federal funding for crime programs. That's why they don't want Donald Trump there. It's all about the money. All you got to do is follow the money.
It's 100% true. I've been talking about it online, and they're trying to use the money in order to plug the budget deficit and the holes. And that's why they're trying to monetize crime. It's one big system. It's a racket. And black people are falling for it. These liberal protesters are falling for it that don't even live in Chicago. Illinois, they not even playing no games as far as trying to make sure that they plug that budget deficit. And so they're dependent on Donald Trump. And so instead of actually cleaning up crime and balancing the budget like they're supposed to, they begging the federal government for money and trying to act like it's these community programs, and they juking the stats in order to get to the money. It's one big rack.
Now we gonna see. I want to see what y'all say when all the black people get fired and go to jail when we do Operation Grey Lord, and you see how much money all those people in his administration, because he told y'all he had the blackest administration. When you see how much money they stole and how much property they stole and took from us, then I want to see what you all have to say. Then is it gonna be about a black face? Then when you see how much money they took from you, when you see your grandma property, the reason why you lost it because they stole it with some fake building violations and things like that, or fake eminent domain. We're gonna see if it's gonna be, oh, that's a black woman or a black man. Then when you see how much money they stole and how much property they took from your people.
Now allegedly, inside sources tell me that you're going to use your $840 million in cash bonds to try and get reelected. Well, I'm here to tell you that that's not happening. I am demanding a forensic audit from Pam Bundy and Kash Patel for you to come here, for you guys to come here and do a forensic audit on the mayor of Chicago. We have been calling for the Attorney General and the leader of the FBI for months now. Please do not forget about us. Harboring illegal aliens in America who commit crimes is a violation of the Constitution. I hope Trump and his team are listening and take action as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments.
You're not only the most incompetent mayor, you're the most progressive mayor, you're the most woke mayor in the city of Chicago. Where's the revenue going to go? Is it going to go to the deficit because of your math, or is it going to go to the illegals that you love so much? So here's the thing. What's going to happen is this. You are going to go to prison before you get elected out of office. You was over there in Congress sweating yourself to death. Didn't know how much that you gave to the illegal. $600 million that you put in their pockets at the time. You protect these illegal more than you protect the women of Chicago. You protect the illegals more than the blacks in Chicago. You protect the illegals more than the children who've been victimized and stuff of crime. Either you're close friend with the devil or you're sleeping with the devil. I don't know.
I don't even talk to you no more. I have no respect for you. You're raggedy. Your administration is raggedy. The Democratic Party is detrimental to America. And you, by far, have continued to let it just do whatever because you don't care, because you done stole so much money, right? And you done went down to Congress and lied under oath because you were just an idiot. You are a weak man. You are a traitor. Please bring in ICE because we are under attack.
You all invaded our communities and
yeah. I mean, it's bad. Like, we redlining each other. Like, all this literally is black on black crime. And that is what their fear is. Their fear, the Brandon Johnson administration, the pastors, you understand, the CTU, you know, the NGOs, the crime prevention, the homies who got the crime prevention money. They are worried about what is about to come out. Okay, because they've laundered all this money. They stole all this money, and they never would have thought that President Donald Trump would have got a second term. Yep. They thought they did what they had to do with that. You know, because that's just what they do. The Democratic Party is terrible, but it's big business. So yes, I cannot wait to see the press conference tomorrow. They've held more press conferences in the last 2 months, 60 days than I've seen them pass a bill, law, legislation, have done anything. They don't even come outside. Lieutenant Governor Stratton been outside for 60 days straight. She don't even come outside.
We don't even know. We never saw them, seriously. Since they've been elected, we never saw them. So now you see them now. So that's why we're saying thank you for the National Guards. And like we said, thank you, Greg Abbott, for sending the Texas National Guards. And thank you for just shining a light on what was going on at the border, because they was lying.
Abbott's not going to play with you. DeSantis is not going to play with you. Kemp is not going to play with you. Those three Republican governors, I know for sure, is not going to play with you. So yeah,
they're going to put their citizens first.
Yeah, they're going to put
it's about the American citizens first. Yeah. But anyway, make sure you all go out and register to vote, because history will be made this coming election. We haven't had change since 1931. And it's going to happen. I feel like this. And I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it is.
Gang outside. Gang outside. Don't go out the house to the gang outside. Ooh, I got the smoke. Who want the smoke? Okay.
Who won't smoke with me? All right, y'all. Love y'all.
I volunteered at a community center, and after school, these children would talk about how they would hear gunfire pinging across their neighborhoods at night, and they would clutch their sheets or jump onto the ground to avoid that gunfire. We know that we have a gun issue here in this Commonwealth and here across this country. We have to protect our children at all costs. They are one of the most vulnerable populations here in the Commonwealth. And as Attorney General, we will continue to be vigilant and continue to use all of the resources at our disposal to make sure that we are protecting them. These are challenging times with the hack on the Colonial Pipeline, with the things that we're seeing on social media, the sort of terrible situation in Washington on January 6th that was seemingly fomented by social media. I certainly felt that knee on my neck when I watched the George Floyd video, and I felt the bullets in my back when I watched the video of Jacob Blake in Wisconsin. That, as a black man, is visceral and personal for me. As a black man, when I walk out of the studio, I am just as susceptible to being targeted by a police officer or being profiled by somebody because of the color of my skin. I don't have the luxury to walk around, as some of the other folks in the studio do, and then come in here and try to lecture me about what's happened.
What do you say to the 40% of California voters who you'll need in order to win, who voted for Trump?
How would I need them in order to win, ma'am?
Well, unless you think you're going to get 60% of the vote. You think you'll get 60%. Everybody who did not vote for Trump will vote for you. That's what you're saying.
In a general election, yes. If it is me versus a Republican, I think that I will win the people who did not vote for Trump.
What if it's you versus another Democrat?
I don't intend that to be the case.
So how do you not intend that to be the case? Are you going to ask them not to run?
No, I'm saying I'm going to build the support. I have the support already in terms of name recognition. And so I'm going to do the very best I can to make sure that we get through this primary in a really strong position. But let me be clear with you. I represented Orange County. I represented a purple area. I have stood on my own 2 feet and won Republican votes before. That's not something every candidate in this race can say. If you're from a deep blue area, if you're from LA or you're from Oakland, you don't have an experience.
But you just said you don't need those Trump voters.
Well, you asked me if I needed them to win.
So you don't think
I feel like this is unnecessarily argumentative. What is your question?
The question is the same thing I asked everybody, that this is being called the empowering voters to stop Trump's power grab. Every other candidate has answered this question. This is not
correct. And I said I support it.
So, and the question is, what do you say to the 40% of voters who voted for Trump?
Oh, I'm happy to say that. It's the do you need them to win part that I don't understand. I'm happy to answer the question as you have it written, and I'll answer it.
And we've also asked the other candidates, do you think you need any of those 40% of California voters to win? And you're saying, no, you don't.
No, I'm saying I'm going to try to win every vote I can. And what I'm saying to you is that...
Well, to those voters, okay, so you...
I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it. Okay. Thank you.
You're not going to do the interview with us?
Nope, not like this. I'm not. Not with 7 follow-ups to every single question you ask.
Every other candidate has answered our follow-ups.
I don't care. I want to have a pleasant, positive conversation in which you ask me about every issue on this list. And if every question you're going to make up a follow-up question, then we're never going to get there.
Ms.
And
Porter,
we're just going to circle around.
I am an investigative
I have never
reporter.
had to do this before, ever.
You've never had to have a conversation with
to end an
reporter?
interview.
Okay, but every other candidate has done this.
What part of, I'm me, I'm running for governor because I'm a leader. So I am going to make...
So you're not going to answer questions from reporters? Okay, why don't we go through? I will continue to ask follow-up questions because that's my job as a journalist, but I will go through and ask these, and if you don't want to answer, you don't want to answer. So nearly every legislative...
I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you, and I don't want this all on camera.
I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you either. I would love to continue to ask these questions so that we can show our viewers what every candidate feels about every one of these issues that they care about. And redistricting is a massive issue. We're going to do an entire story just on the responses to that question. And I've asked everybody the same follow-up questions.
I think we should have strong border security. It doesn't make sense for us to allow hundreds of thousands of people coming through our borders without us knowing who they are. Oftentimes in very hazardous situations and unmonitored situations that could do us long-term damage. I think we should have a serious employer verification system where employers, when they hire somebody, find out what their work status is. Are they able to work here legally? Right now, what employers will say is, well, we check their Social Security card. That's the best we can do. So we've got to set up a tamper-proof system and then hold employers accountable. You pay a fine, you learn English, you stay out of trouble, you've got a job. You go to the back of the line so that those who came here legally, that backlog is cleared before you have opportunities for citizenship. That is a reasonable approach, and one that will ultimately address the biggest problem for American workers, and that is the depressive effect of undocumented workers who aren't right now subject to oftentimes minimum wage laws or worker safety laws or all the other things that make them cheaper for employers. If they're out of the shadows, then we can make sure those laws are enforced and those cost advantages for hiring undocumented workers go away.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists. And some, I assume, are good people.
Now, you've tried to clarify this statement in recent days, Donald, but I guess the question comes down to this. Do you regret saying that specifically about rapists, or do you stand by it?
No, not at all. Of course, it's not only Mexico. If you let that run a little bit longer, it talks about people coming from all over. They're coming from all over. They'll soon be coming, and probably already have, be coming from all over the world. You're probably going to have people, you're probably going to have terrorists coming from the Middle East. Somebody said, oh, we don't have terrorists. They don't even know, because they don't know who's coming. So we have this open border. It's a sieve. It's like water pouring through. People are coming in by the hundreds of thousands. We have no idea who's coming in. And it's not just Mexicans. And I have a great relationship with Mexico and with Mexicans. I have an absolutely great relationship. But we're not just talking about Mexico. Now, Mexico is very smart. You know, Mexico makes it impossible. It's one of the hardest nations in the world to become a citizen of, okay? But people run through Mexico. They go through our border like nothing. They end up, we don't know who these people are, but all you have to do is you should do a show from the border. Talk to the border security. You will see the kind of people coming. You'll see the kind of crime that's being committed. And we're taking these people. And by the way, just to finish on that, it's common sense. They don't want these people, so they send them to the United States, because the United States is run by stupid people. We have stupid leadership. We have incompetent leadership that doesn't know what it's doing, so we take them. And certainly we do have killers and plenty of other problems coming over. We take them because other countries don't want them. We're like a dumping ground. The United States, Aaron, is like a dumping ground for the world's problems. So,
Mr. President, can we talk about Portland for a second? Are you planning to invoke the Insurrection Act? That would be, a very long-standing law that's been on the books.
Yeah, well, it's been invoked before, as you know. If you look at Chicago, Chicago's a great city where there's a lot of crime. And if the governor can't do the job, we'll do the job. It's all very simple. They probably had 50 murders in Chicago over the last 5, 6, 7 months. Many people were shot. And then the governor gets up and he says, well, we can handle it. They can't handle it. They don't know what they're doing. The mayor is grossly incompetent. He's at a 4% approval rating in Chicago. He's at a 4%, lowest approval rating, lower than even de Blasio had, which is hard to believe in New York. I thought de Blasio would always maintain that record, but the Chicago guy is even lower. So I think that we want safe cities. If you look at D.C., you would right now, Mark, you could go out, take your family out to dinner, you could walk right down the middle of the street. There is no crime in D.C. When I got here, this place was a raging hellhole where people would come from Canada, people would come from other places and end up getting shot. Nobody's being shot. The National Guard's been unbelievable. I mean, they are strong, tough guys. You know.
Crying harder. Crying harder. Trump is your president. Crying harder. Crying harder. Trump is your president.
On the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist!" exclamation point, catch exclamation point.
Do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
No one has ever been more dangerous to this country than Donald Trump, and he is a fascist to his core.
And shut down the Senate! We are at war!
We're at a war right now.
We are at war.
So you have to be willing to do whatever is necessary in order to save the country.
And that's why the gloves are off.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
And yes, there are many threats to democracy. We see it with these extreme candidates.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
You can only push people so far, and then they start to take matters into their own hands.
What the American public want is for us to bring actual weapons to this bar fight. This is an actual fight.
You know, this is literally call to arms.
The MAGA movement is a threat.
But Michelle says that, when they go low, we go high. No.
With all due respect, if they go low, we don't go high.
When they go low, we kick them.
We take them to the mud and choke them out.
And make sure that they stay down. And you know what? Kick them when they're down, because they deserve it.
Get up in the face of some Congress people.
We are going to be in your face. We are going to be on your...
We have to fight this in the streets.
And we're going to fight it in the streets.
It's time to step out of your comfort zone and step out into the streets.
To our Republican colleagues, if you do not see the light, we will bring the fire. Resist!
You and your little friend off of Twitter. Y'all about to find out.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
He's not going to have a third term. He may not finish his term.
Yes, the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying. Just saying. There will be news sometime. Just so you know, there will be news.
I want
want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. Most important thing is my faith in my life.
But if you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
Baby.